Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, which means it's time for True Crime Tales. So as always, we have a content warning. It gets graphic, it gets violent, it gets gross. It always does. That being said, we're just going to get into it. It's not a super long one, so let's just get into it. This one is about Anthony Tony Ray Amati, known as the Thrill Killer. He is an American man connected to the deaths of 3 men from May to August of '96. The FBI was brought in to find Amati's whereabouts and added him to the FBI 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list on February 27, 1998. He was arrested 2 days later, tried, found guilty of the murder of Keith Dyer, and sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 40 years served in '99. Amati was born in Carbondale, Illinois. He and his family moved to Las Vegas in 1992. He graduated from Clark High School with honors in '94. Amati was still in high school when he got a job as a telemarketer. During his murder trial, a doctor said he was highly intelligent, able to discern right from wrong, and exhibited many traits of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Quote, "He has the personality characteristics that you would see in a good accountant," end quote, the doctor testified. On May 26, 1996, Amati and 2 accomplices, 27-year-old Troy Sampson and 23-year-old Edward James, robbed Master Shooter Supply, a gun store in southern Las Vegas, of $30,000 worth of guns and ammunition. The next day, 27-year-old Michael Mata, a drywall worker, was shot more than 20 times while he was looking through a dumpster in a Las Vegas housing complex. 2 months later, on July 28th, 48-year-old John Garcia was shot to death 1 block away from where Mata was killed, with witnesses telling police that 2 men were seen running from the scene. Amati claimed that he was not present at the 2 murders, though the guns used were later found in his home. 4 weeks later, in August, the 3 men confronted 22-year-old Keith Dyer, who was shot 13 times as he was walking with a coworker to an apartment complex near University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Stacy Dooley, Dyer's coworker, was shot in the leg. Police alleged that Amati, Sampson, and James had been testing the new weapons they had stolen, dubbing them Thrill Killers. At the scene, Amati cut his hand, leaving blood the police eventually collected and used to implicate him. In October of '96, Amati, Sampson, and James sold stolen guns to a dealer. Unknown to them, the buyer was an undercover policeman, and both Sampson and James were apprehended while Amati remained at large. Their trailer was subsequently seized and searched by investigators who uncovered the stolen weapons, which were eventually matched to the guns used to kill all 3 victims. Since Amati couldn't be located, his 2 accomplices remained in police custody until he was found. On February 27, 1998, Amati was officially added as number 452 on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list, and they subsequently took control over the case. It was found that in the 2 years Amati was a fugitive, he went under multiple pseudonyms, including Anthony Ray Jones, Philip D. Gitlitz, Devin Restavito, and Shane William Wade. What's with the 3 names? The FBI found that he was arrested multiple times in Utah, but managed to convince police that he was a different person each time. While Amati was at large, he was featured in an episode of the popular television program America's Most Wanted, in which investigators involved in the extensive manhunt for Amati said that he was most likely armed and dangerous. They suspected Amati might be in southern Illinois because of a family that was known to have lived there. Initially, after over 50 tips from that area, that theory ran dry. Days after the episode was broadcast, detectives received a tip from Georgia, and FBI agents were dispatched there to find him. On March 1st, agents stormed Amati's hotel room in Atlanta and arrested him without incident. Amati's father, Charlie Amati, pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of obstructing a peace officer for giving an officer a fraudulent license with a photo of Tony. He was sentenced to 12 months of a conditional discharge and fined $200. Now, from what I understand, conditional discharge is just like a really friggin' fancy way of saying that, like, good behavior would get him out sooner. In December '96, Sampson pleaded guilty to possession of stolen property and being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. He was sentenced to 20 to 50 months in prison. Amati, Sampson, and James were all charged with the murders, but due to evidence withheld by the judge, the charges against Sampson and James were dropped by the district attorney. The murders charges against Amati remained. In '99, he stood trial denying his guilt, claiming the murders were primarily committed by Sampson and James and that he himself never pulled the trigger. During the trial, Amati claimed he only participated in the string of killings out of fear of Sampson. and only went on the run since he thought no one would believe him even if he turned himself in. Amati was acquitted of killing Mata and Garcia, but found guilty of killing Dyer. During his sentencing hearing, he said, "I'm so sorry this had to happen," and begged the jury for mercy. Amati's lawyers had argued that his age warranted leniency and said it would be unfair for him to be executed when his co-defendants were walking free. The jury ultimately spared his life and recommended life in prison with the possibility of parole. Although the sentence was the absolute best case scenario for Amati, Bruce Dyer said he was satisfied. "To me, it would be living hell to be in jail for 40 years, he said. Jurors said that while they believed Amati shot Dyer, they decided to spare his life due to the lack of other violent incidents in his life before and after the murders. Amati is serving his sentence at Lovelock Correctional Center and will become eligible for parole in 2038 when he is 62. Sampson was released from prison in August of '99. On November 14, 2000, he robbed and burned down a Las Vegas convenience store. He cut the telephone lines to the store and, in an attempt to disable the alarm system, cut a hole in the roof to get inside and cut the power lines to the store security cameras. However, Sampson missed one camera, which filmed him breaking into the video poker machines, trying to drill open an ATM, and pouring lighter fluid around the store and lighting it on fire. Sampson faced a federal arson charge since the store was involved in interstate commerce. In 2002, he pleaded guilty to arson and was sentenced to 150 months in prison. Sampson was released from prison on December 11, 2012. It kills me that this man is walking free and he's murdered people and burned down his... Like, my dude, my guy, what are you doing? Like, why would you just let that go? But we're gonna do what we're gonna do, I guess. Anyway, that was the story of the Thrill Killer, which really... hard to believe that that is one of the worst serial killers out there, but it is. Yeah, this guy was I don't know, he was special. Anyway, so that's it for me. Y'all, I'll see you later this week. Have a wonderful day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Make good choices. Be cautiously kind to others, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.